Coming up,
there was a knock at the door. Cat! He never learned how to speak human. Realizes that the brain rot is too strong. And Muffin starts crying out for help.
and more, but first,
This orange cat named Cheddar used a single orange brain cell and accidentally saved humanity. Ever since being diagnosed with terminal orange catitis, Cheddar has been on the hunt for his turn with the brain cell his entire life, but he could never find it. If you love this cat, leave a like to give it a brain cell and send a brain emoji to give him one more. But he might not need it because today he found it and accidentally discovered perpetual motion. In the process, now dozens of thousands of scientists from across the world are trying to copy his work, but they just can't figure out how. And now they're all asking him how he did it. But in all his many years as cat, he never learned how to speak human. So maybe we're all doomed. And this is another one of Cat's greatest secrets. But
it never lets you cat do this. This cat, named Cosmo, suddenly started staring at his owner. At first, the man thought nothing of it, but as the hours went on, he just wouldn't stop staring. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the cat stood up and touched his forehead without saying a word. Little did he know, at the time, he was in grave danger. You see, this is the way cats send data back to the Meowthership. A few days later, the man suddenly went missing, with nothing but cats in his place. More and more cats began exhibiting this strange behavior, and people keep going missing. Scientists can't explain it, and now, not even the children are safe. What was once a newborn baby is now another faceless cat. And it's all because
This cat named Bean just saved his owner's life. His owner was sick and wouldn't stop sneezing, leaving everyone else in danger over the cloud of germs. But Bean became a hero, activating his sonic wave defense against the sneeze germs. Take a look.
a kid costs over $21,000 every year, but a cat will only cost you $3,000 per year. But is that actually true? A woman in California named Rebecca decided to put it to the test. After she sent her son to the adoption agency, she picked up 7 cats from the local animal shelter. Ever since that fateful day, she has never been happier. Now that she no longer has to spend time taking care of her useless son, she has more time and money than ever to give our feline overlords the attention they so rightfully deserve. Looks like cat thematics won after all. But let's get back to the question.
This man's house got destroyed, but these cats saved his life. Dean, a man, just bought a house in Denver, but only a couple of weeks after moving in, a giant sandstorm swept through the town, destroying his roof in seconds. Frank was devastated because he forgot to buy house insurance, and now he was unable to afford to fix his house. But only a couple hours later, there was a knock at the door. Cats! Upon realizing that his house was destroyed, these cats that were abandoned by their former house's owner decided to help, working day and night on his roof until it was finally fixed. And the results meow for themselves. Dean, overwhelmed by the generosity, decided to give them a life supply of catnip. Meow? This cat named Drifter wouldn't get off his car, but the reason will make you cry. Every day, as this man tried to leave work, Drifter would jump on his car, pleading to take him home. But despite his pleas, this evil man refused to take him home and forcibly removed him from his windshield. Drifter never gave up on him though, because this man was his last hope and everyone else hated him. But the next day, disaster happened, because on his way to work, the man got into a car crash and never returned. Drifter was devastated. All he ever wanted was to have a home of his own, but now he's forced to live on the streets forever. Like if this made you cry. This cat named Ollie just been hit by the brain rock cannon, and bruh needs your help.
Ohio,
Skibbity toilet.
Sigma, Flint, and Steve. Another Pie and Steve. Chicken Jockey, Race, the Rizzler, Up to Thunder Pearl. What the dog doing? Random Tax.
Like just made you cry?
This cat named Susie made an unlikely friendship that lasted a lifetime. One day, her owner brought home something horrifying, a dog named Bagel. At first, Susie hated him, jealous that he was stealing her owner's attention. But over time, the two became inseparable, always protecting each other's backs. Even now they're in their old age. They sit together on the step every day. But this would be the last time they ever saw each other. They had spent their entire life together, but Bagel just couldn't bring himself to tell her today was their final day together. The next morning when Susie woke up, she ran to look for him, but just he wasn't there. Susie refused to accept it and began searching everywhere for him. But in the end, she realized he was never coming back. But even thought Susie cries herself to sleep every night. Sometimes she still hears her best friend saying goodbye.
Never let your cat take a shower. As his owner is about to take a shower, Muffin impatiently jumps ahead, but as he squeezes through the door, it slams shut behind him. The dread starts to set in as his orange brain cell realizes that he is now trapped. It looks like curiosity may have gotten the cat, and Muffin starts crying out for help. The man desperately tries to free Muffin from his glass prison before he loses his last brain cell, but it's no use. Door is stuck. Now Muffin cries, knowing he'll never escape again, and I'm crying too. What would you have done? Giant cats are real. In this poverty-stricken village, paid the ultimate price. Because this town has no cars and nobody can afford one. That was until the town pooled their money together, buying a used train from Italy, the capital of Greece. One day, this remote village in Switzerland awoke to a shocking sight: a giant cat standing in their town. Meowthra. Terrified, they began yelling at the cat and told him to leave and never return. Meowthra was devastated. All he wanted to do was ride the new tree, but they never let him. But he would get his revenge because he returned the next day with a giant cat army, wiping out the town in an instant. Thankfully, everybody survived. A town-wide memorial has been prepared to bury the survivors in the coming weeks, and the town has since been renamed to Switzerland in wake of the disaster.
This cat named Fanta is going out on a date, but he needs your help. Fanta has just found his very own cat girlfriend, Susie, the cat next door. She's perfect, but he's very, very shy. Even his owner helps him prepare for his big date tonight. He still hasn't asked her out. He hasn't worked up the confidence and needs you to give him the encouragement he needs to ask her out. So that's why he wants to know. Do you think he's handsome?
This cat named Carrot loves to be thrown into the power lines, and every day he runs to his owner, desperately begging, "Please, please, throw me into the power lines." The two were inseparable until they were separated, because one day tragedy struck when his owner was sadly hit to unalive by a car, and that's when Carrot knew he would never be thrown into the power lines again. Overwhelmed with grief, he dragged himself home to cry in his empty house forever. But then, moved by his tragedy, all the village people came together to throw him into the power lines over and over again, every day until his owner came home from the hospital. Like, if you would throw back.
If you loved that video, you'll like this one.